warrant that reading, even if not labeled as such. Of course, back in 1997, nobody was writing about force wounds. That came years later with KOTOR 2. Jerec isn't consumed or mindless like Nihilus, he's still sharp, controlling, and totally aware. But that doesn't rule out the idea that he was an early version of what the later games called a wound. If you think of Jerec as the first force wound, it makes his story way more interesting. Even though no one in the Dark Forces 2 era used the word wound, Jerec fits that idea almost perfectly. He's blind, but his sight through the Force is so intense it erases others' connection to it. He feeds on the Force nexus, and his presence dulls the Force like a shadow falling across it. So in a way, Jerec might be the first Force wound we ever saw long before anyone thought to call it that. He's not just evil, he's the kind of evil that breaks the Force itself. Ron's Dark Cloud description of Jerec doesn't just paint him as a powerful Sith. It portrays him as a parasite within the Force itself, capable of suppressing and absorbing another's bond to it. Krea's later words give that phenomenon language, a technique where the Force is not projected outward but inverted inward, where connection becomes consumption. Together, the two passages read like master and philosopher, describing the same anomaly generations apart. Ron warns of it. Krea defines it. Jerec, in this light, becomes a proto-nihilist, an early manifestation of that terrible possibility Krea speaks of, a being who turns the living current of the Force into fuel for their own will, leaving behind silence, absence, and shadow. He's not just another dark Jedi, he's literally breaking the Force around him. The Valley of the Jedi stops being just a power source and becomes a potential scar in the Force, something that could have thrown everything out of balance. Jerec's character and powers. From the game and lore, Jerec is a Miraluka former Jedi Master, turned Dark Jedi, Inquisitor, discovered the Valley of the Jedi, and seeks vast Force power. He's described as having the uncanny power to absorb and overshadow one's connection to the Force, like a dark cloud. Quoted in his profile on the Villains Wiki. He uses powers like Force Destruction, Force Suppression, Force Drain in some lore interpretations, including the ability to cut off or impair an opponent's Force connection. During the final confrontation in the Valley, the gameplay emphasizes his attempt to draw on the Valley's stream of Force essence for cleansing or empowerment of himself. These elements show Jerec not just as a powerful dark Jedi, but as one who manipulates, suppresses, or drains the Force connection of others and seeks to exploit a nexus of Force power, the Valley, for a radical purpose.